There's a Google algorithm update around the corner, and you know what that means. This is when Google decides, are we going to smash your site into the ground until you quit doing SEO? Or are we going to reward you with a gigantic traffic boner that shoots out the top of your monitor? In this video, I'll show you how to prepare for the coming Google update, so you can avoid penalties and position your website for maximum gains. If we haven't met before, my name is Matt Diggity, and I'm the founder of 7-figure SEO businesses Diggity Marketing, LeadSpring, the Search Initiative, Authority Builders, the Affiliate Lab, and the Chiang Mai SEO Conference. If there's one thing I've learned in the 15 years I've been doing SEO is that 90% of your growth or losses happen on Google updates. For example, a nice little traffic increase started here on the August 2022 product reviews update, then just kidding, we hate you on December 22 link spam update, then psych, let's make out in February 23 product reviews update, then nah, we're breaking up on the April 23 reviews update. It's plain as day, your growth or demise happens on Google updates. What you need to understand is that with data, these updates become predictable. By analyzing thousands of websites before and after updates, I've got a solid sense for what they expect and how to prepare your website for when they come. There's certain ranking factors such as Topical Authority or Backlink Devaluation that are only refreshed during updates, and thus update preparation is a lot different than your typical daily SEO strategy. And don't worry, I'll explain it all soon. Now I'll be honest, I think the next coming update will either be a helpful content update or a Google core algorithm update, but no one knows for sure. Which is why in this video, I'll give you a full SEO checklist for every kind of Google update.
Yeah, boy.
And make sure to stick around until the end because you probably don't know the last Google update strategy even exists. But real quick before I get started, I wanted to let you know that the Search Initiative is taking on a handful of clients right now for $1,000 off your first month in exchange for a testimonial down the road. Just head on over to thesearchinitiative.com, put your deets into the form, and we'll get right back to you. So here's the format I'm going to present these update-specific ranking factors. I'll explain what they are, what updates you specifically need to pay attention to them, and lastly, what you need to do so your website passes with flying colors. Let's start with thin or unhelpful content, something that right now Google is losing their shit over, as you'll find in the helpful content update, but also sometimes in Google core algorithm update. Thin content is defined as content that provides little to no value or lacking in quality and resolving nothing for the reader, which leaves searchers hungry for an answer elsewhere. In other words, unhelpful content. Google wants its users to be happy. If you Google something and don't find the answer right away, you're now a little bit more likely to find answers elsewhere. SEO professionals typically audit their websites for unhelpful content in two different ways. First, you can use a tool like Screaming Frog to scan your entire website for any article less than 500 words, a supposed criteria for thin content. Do I think this will help? Not really. There's plenty of search queries that can be answered in less than 500 words. That said, here's a 3,000 word article ranked #1 on Google for how many calories in an apple, so I guess I'll shut up now. But my preferred way to do a thin content analysis of my site is to look at how many pages have absolutely zero traffic. You can do this for free in Google Search Console or using a paid tool like Ahrefs. Here's my traffic per page breakdown for diggitymarketing.com, one of my sites that went up in the last update. Only 19% of my pages have zero traffic. And here's one of my competitors that got clobbered with 44%. What do you do to fix that? You have a choice. Either prune these pages out or rewrite them to give Google what they want. But please don't share this with my competitor. Next up, we have EEAT factors, which are reconsidered during Google core updates. In the Google Quality Rater guidelines, they instruct their reviewers to make sure law content is written by lawyers, health content is written by doctors, and freaking cat shaving content is written by Dr. Evil. But the Quality Rater guidelines is a document that they give to humans. How does an algorithm do this? It doesn't. It doesn't have the computational resources to track down the validity of every author on the internet. And even if it did, that's just dumb. I could log into WordPress and say that Steve Jobs wrote one of my articles. What are they gonna do? This isn't Baldur's Gate 3. They can't cast Speak with Dead on him and ask if that's true. EEAT is mostly determined by links. But there's also some other trust signals you need to be aware of. Having a proper about page and contact page is a no-brainer. To learn how to build them properly, check out my video called My Official Stance on the #1 Google Ranking Factor after you finish here. But there's more to it. Story time. I have a law firm website that I partner on that I wasn't getting any movement after months of work. I started noticing that most of my competitors had great review star ratings on their Google My Business profiles, as well as places like Facebook. They were also present on all the law firm directories. So I got to work, and sure enough, on the core update, the traffic went beast mode. So how can you do the same? Follow this checklist. Look at what trust signals your competitors have. Match that. Look at their about pages and how built out they are. Match that. Look at what links are common amongst sites in your niche that you don't have. You can use Ahrefs Link Intersect report for this. And look at which directories and review aggregates are commonplace, similar to what I found in the legal niche. Real quick, here's a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Ahrefs. You may know Ahrefs as an all-in-one SEO tool used by many professionals in the industry. But it's also a great resource for those who are just starting to work on their website and learn about SEO. If you're looking to improve your SEO knowledge or to start learning about SEO, visit Ahrefs Academy. It features courses on blogging, link building, a beginner's SEO course, and more. Also, if you want to improve your website's ranking but don't know where to start, sign up for Ahrefs Webmaster Tools. It's a free tool that will show you what errors prevent your website from ranking higher. Go to ahrefs.com/AWT and start improving your website today. Now back to the video. Next we have Topical Authority, which also gets reconsidered during core updates. Topical Authority is when you cover a topic like cat shaving more than any of your competitors, and thus Google considers you to be the go-to source for shaving cats, and then you get a massive traffic boner after a core update. Why does it work like this? Running Google is expensive. According to this article on kevinkelly.org, every time you search, it costs Google about 0.3 cents. They need to keep costs down. If every time someone searches for cat shaving, which is shockingly way too much, Google has to check every website on the internet to see if they have good cat shaving articles. That's too damn expensive. But if they can count on certain websites for certain topics and consistently reference them, that saves time and money for the algorithm. It's also expensive for them to constantly redecide who is a topical authority. The algorithm doesn't ask itself 24 times a day on the hour if UFC.com is all of a sudden a cat website. So instead, they do it on core updates. That said, topical authority isn't just about covering your niche completely. Are you also writing your content in a way so that it's clear and cheap for Google's algorithm to decide if you got it right? Here's 2 ways to answer the search query, what's the best temperature to brew beer? Here's an NLP-friendly answer. The best temperature to brew beer is 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 degrees Celsius. And here's a hot mess. For beer brewing, it's kind of like this. Keep it around 65 degrees more or less. I'll let you guess which one is better. So how do you master topical authority? The first step is figuring out what all you need to write to cover your niche. This is called generating a topical map. I've got a video coming out on this, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Otherwise, if you want me to generate one for you, head to leadspring.org/topical-map-service. That's the easy part. The hard part is writing it all, because for a topic even as simple as protein powder, you'll need to cover 350 articles. That's where AI comes into play. Personally, I'm using Surfer AI as it creates NLP-friendly articles based on the factors reverse engineered from the articles already at the top of Google. Entities, words, phrases, word length, heading structure, facts, everything. The next ranking factor revolves around user signals. And these bad boys get reconsidered on core updates and helpful content updates, especially the Giggle one in September 2023. What user signals am I talking about here? Click-through rate, CTR, is the first one. When users see your website in the search result, are they clicking on it or skipping it? The next one is goal completion. When they click on your website, are they getting their goals met? Did you end their search journey? Or did they click back on their browser and pogo stick down to the next result? A very bad user signal. Here's an example of what happens with user signals on updates. Tell me if you've seen this before. A website built on an expired domain shows up in your niche, starts growing a massive traffic boner, living its best life. Your jealousy is getting unbearable. The reason this happens is because a month ago, this website was ranked on page 10 or below. So Google is expecting the user signals typical for a website on page 10. Namely, no expectation on click-through rate, goal completion, or anything. Users don't go on those websites at all. But nonetheless, the content and link authority are growing and the site gets more and more traffic. Until a core update when Google's like, how do your user signals compare against the sites on page 1? Bro, users hate your website. Let's send you back to the Stone Age. Brand search volume is another user signal that got massively cranked up in a recent helpful content update. This is when people are searching for you or your business name in Google. Of all the ranking factors I looked at after the HCU, sites that went up typically had great brand search volume and sites that went down had none. How do you work on user signals before the next update? Check out my user signal video called "This is what Google actually wants you to do" after you finish here. Link in the description. Hardly anyone talks about this next ranking factor, and that's momentum, which is checked during core updates. Momentum is also best illustrated with websites built on expired domains. When you launch a 200-page website on an aged domain with 500 backlinks, the content and link velocity look like a step function. The velocity for each is infinity. And then Google's like, oh my god, this is a super viral website, let's give it all the traffic in the world. And you know how this story goes. During a core update, they asked, does the content and link velocity still match the traffic trajectory I've given it? And most of the time this answer is no. These folks just built their websites and then said, F it, my job's done here. Each and every one of these annihilated websites were built on expired domains that didn't keep up a content and link velocity. Even if you're not building websites on expired domains, you want to keep a steady flow of content and links. Once I taught this to my friend who typically considered himself a churn and burn SEO, he immediately changed his business model once he knew how to maintain long-lasting rankings. Next on the list is Backlink Devaluation, which is super important in the spam updates. either the vanilla spam update or the aptly labeled link spam update. As Google's algorithms get better, they're constantly redefining what's a spammy link and what's not. They're learning this through the Google disavow tool submissions combined with machine learning. What did they do when they identified that a website's outbound links are spammy? On this Google SEO Office Hour Hangout, Google Search Liaison John Mueller said that they simply ignore them. So the name of the game is simply not to build links that Google will ignore. Christopher Holton, Chiang Mai SEO speaker who ranks #1 for best online casino in most Asian countries, said just as much.
Google knows that when there's a link bump going up that says porn to your casino site, Google knows it's spam links.
My first piece of advice is to stick to getting links from websites that have actual organic traffic themselves. According to this Ahrefs study, only 3.45% of the internet has traffic. If Google gives a website its rare gift of traffic, then of course it's okay with its outbound links. Second, preemptively do a link disavow to tell Google ahead of time which of your inbound links are spammy. When Google finds a high proportion of non-disavowed spam going to your site, that can trigger a manual penalty. Next, if you monetize your website, you need to pay attention here. Your ratio of purely informational content versus how much commercial monetized content matters. And this is something I first saw in December 2020 during a core algorithm update, but now also seems to get refreshed during reviews updates. Going back to December 2020, I'd never seen so many affiliate monetized websites get destroyed in my life as an SEO. When I ran a correlation study to determine what separated sites that went up from sites that went down, here's what I found. The more monetized content a website had compared to their helpful informational content, the more traffic they lost. So you need to keep a fine balance. The thing is, it's niche specific. A niche like coupons can get away with 90% commercial content, but the auto niche wants to keep it around 20. Watch my video pinned at the top here to find out the ratio appropriate in your niche. Or at the very least, subscribe for more videos just like this one.